Good afternoon. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I am your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Monday, October 4th, year of our Lord 2021. And we're going to talk about the vehicle mileage tax. Is it real? Is it something we should be concerned about? Well, let's find out. We all know that the infrastructure bill or the other bills, Reconciliation Act, is hung up in Congress. They're fighting about whether they're going to pass it or not, or what order to pass it, or how big it should be, or whatever. And I've been on screaming from the rooftops about the bank revealing the bank information to the IRS, and that I'm against it, and I think it's a violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. I've been doing a lot of research about the Supreme Court cases. I think there's a good argument to be made that it's against our Fourth Amendment rights, and we shouldn't really have to argue that fact, because it's obvious on its face that this is not something we should allow the IRS to do, given their past history, given the way the government has acted since COVID, and the all-encompassing control that they have maintained over all of us. And I think just giving them our tax information or our banking information would be a mistake, a colossal mistake. I always say, what free people would invent an institution like the IRS? And now we already have it. We're never going to get rid of it. Do we give it more power? Do we quadruple the size? Do we double the size? Do we give them more authority to spy on us and make sure that we're all paying what they say we should be paying? This is a question for the ages, and this is what we should all be considering when passing these things. The fact that they can perhaps gather more money, close the tax gap, the evil tax gap, is kind of beside the point, in my opinion. Now, something else has come up about this bill, and so people are asking, is there a mileage tax in this bill? Is that something that we should be considered about too? And so I did a little research, and we found out, yes, it's not in the bill, but there is some information. They are doing a pilot program to determine whether that's something they should do or not. Should they implement this new program? So let's do a little research on it. Okay. So here's this is from the Tax Foundation. It's a good organization that talks about taxes, obviously. But they have a good article here about it. This week, the Mileage-Based User Fee Alliance held an annual conference. I was invited to speak. Well, whatever. The group is interested in how mileage-based taxes could help better fund transportation spending, and how it can price roads it can better price roads than the gas tax. Mileage taxes are levied on drivers based on the number of miles they drive. For example, a driver could be charged 12 cents a mile for driving on a highway. If they drive 100 miles on this highway a month, that means a $12 bill. This is similar to tolling, but the technology could potentially allow the tax to be much more flexible in terms of where and when it is levied. Now, this is what concerns me about it. It's the where and when. So if it's true, you could adjust it. Whether I'm on a highway, I can charge one fee. If I'm on the roadways, I could charge another fee. If it's during rush hour, I can charge yet another fee. But to do that, what does that take? That takes tracking. That means they have to know where your car is at all times. And no matter where you go or how long you stay there, there's going to be a record of it. And many people don't want a record of where they go, don't want the government so easily to know exactly where they're going. Did you go to that protest? Oh. Were you in Washington, D.C. on January 6th? Oh, right. These are things that we should not allow our government to be able to track us. now for legitimate reasons, I understand why they're going about this. And here's a very good article in Forbes. We tend to turn to Forbes a lot for tax issues, right? There's a lot of good articles in there. So here infrastructure package includes vehicle mileage tax program. It's a proposal. Okay, so they're doing a pilot program. But here's the thing: the pilot program is because they need a way to figure out how to do it. They don't know how to do it. So they say, well, this bill isn't going to implement it. Well, because they don't know how to implement it. If they knew how to implement it, I think they would implement it. But then we have to wonder, well, what good is a pilot program to find out how to implement it if we implement it and we're all against it? Why even go there? Why even look at that? So, but it's a good article. The U.S. Senate passed President Joe Biden's infrastructure bill with bipartisan support. This article is from August. So they did with 19 Republicans. In the $2,700 infrastructure bill is a pilot program for a vehicle mileage tax. Here's how it works. A vehicle mileage tax or vehicle miles traveled fee would charge motorists a fee based on how many miles they drive. Simply put, if you drive a vehicle, you would pay money to the government for every mile you drive. The time period can vary, but typically a vehicle miles travel fee is measured in a 1-year period. A vehicle mileage travel fee can be used to raise revenue for transportation infrastructure. Well, that's true. I mean, of course it can. How big is the vehicle miles? The infrastructure bill includes $125 million to fund a pilot program to test the national vehicle miles travel fee. Now, do you spend $125 million on a program that you're not really interested in? Oh, we're just doing a pilot. So it's not really a test. It's a pilot program. They're spending $125 million on it. This includes $10 million each year for 2020 for National Vehicles Miles Traveled Fee Pilot Program and state and local pilot programs. There's a couple of states now that do have this pilot program in place. Utah and Oregon both have this in place for fee by the mile. Why does the infrastructure package include a vehicle miles travel fee? According to the infrastructure package, the goal of the vehicle miles travel fee is to test the feasibility of a road usage fee. Another goal, according to the infrastructure bill, is to conduct public education and outreach to increase public awareness regarding the need for user-based alternative. Now, I have the bill up, and I meant to pull it up, but I'd have to go through it now. I didn't pull it up. But it's on page 500, about 510 of the bill. I was reading the bill today. And it is true, again, that this is just a pilot program. And they're trying to figure out, again, what they have to do is they have to track us all, every mile that we drive. And again, the more efficient the program, the more dangerous it becomes, right? Because to be efficient means the more information. And we are in a time that information is king. Look at what's happened now with Facebook and Twitter. They have great ideas. These are great venues that could be used for good, but they're also could be used for very nefarious purposes and control. And this is what we're concerned about. We're concerned about the federal government and state government, to be honest with you, controlling us and knowing exactly where we go. John McAfee made some very, very good arguments about this, about the tracking issue, right? Well, it's good. It's efficient government. They can know where I am and tax me for every mile I go. But sometimes people don't want people to know where they were or how long they stayed. Or, perhaps you're having an affair on your wife and you don't want her to know. Should the government know? Maybe you went to some venue that you don't want everybody to know that you went to. Should we let the government know that you were there? It's the same thing with this, with the bank statements. Well, we won't look at that. We won't pay attention to that. But we all know that the government abuses their powers that they have. And the more power we give them, the more they'll abuse it. That just goes without saying, I think. I mean, I don't know how else we Of course, it's going to be abused. We know that the tax records of the most wealthy were just revealed. It's against the law to do that. You can't do that, but they did it. But it's out there. So you can pass all these laws for privacy, but unless they follow them, it doesn't do you any good. Who's been punished because they revealed those tax records? Nobody. I don't even know that there's an investigation going on to find out who let go of those, who leaked those. Isn't that? Shouldn't we care about that? Not apparently we shouldn't. Now I mentioned that there's two states that are there's two states now that have it. I mentioned that it's Utah and Oregon. This is good because this was some time ago when it looked like hydrogen powered cars were coming from General Motors, and if all these cars are going to be powered by hydrogen, who's going to buy gas? And if they don't buy the gas, who's going to pay for the roads? And this was some years ago that they thought about this. And of course, it's not the hydrogen power that's going now; it's electric power and fuel efficiency. So, is it right that I would travel, you burn gas, and pay this much for the taxes to help up our roads, and then I buy a fuel efficient car? I use the same mileage, I do the same thing, but now I'm paying half the amount of money in taxes because I'm paying half the amount of money in gas. And so was that fair? And so they came up with this program to try to figure out a way around it. Again, I know that it's a real problem, and I'm not downgrading the problem. It's a big problem. How are they going to fund roads if they don't have a gas tax? They tell us now. And so look, now we're going to hear many, many stories in the next year about or more about how our roads there's no money. The gas tax not enough. There's no money. We got our gas. Our roads are not efficient. They're full of holes. The infrastructure is crumbling, and we need more tax. They have to do it that way. And so then we can all say, well, yeah, we need the money. We got to have the roads, got to be able to get someplace. So then we should let them track us everywhere we go and charge us 12 cents a mile for every mile we go. And that's just the beginning. That's just the state, right? The federal government. Because now you have the state that's going to do the same thing. And then does that mean that they all will have this information? Will law enforcement be able to get that information fairly easily? We know that there was a Supreme Court case where the government tried to track somebody using their cell phone records, and the Supreme Court said that's a violation of his Fourth Amendment rights. You shouldn't be able to track somebody based on these records, even though that there are third-party records that are holding them. Same thing here. Is it that they should be able to track us and use it against us? It just seems like that's something we should all be concerned about. And privacy is important. Now, remember, autonomy and liberty go hand in hand. You can't have liberty without autonomy. And the more autonomy we give up, the more liberty we give up. And so that's where I'm going to leave it today is, let's think of our liberty and what that means and what's the value of that. We can find other ways to fund the roads. There's more than one way to do it. And probably we should find another way besides tracking us every movement we make. In China, they don't have really a tax gap. Well, why is that? Because they get all the money, right? And they can track everybody. They know they can listen to your phone calls. They can come in your home. They can track your bank account. They track everybody's car. They know exactly where you go and how much money you spend, and they look at all your financial records. Is that what we want? There is no autonomy in China, and they say that's a plus. That's a strength for them. But liberty and autonomy is what we fought for. It's the basis of our country, and we can't forget that. And I would ask you not to forget it. And when it comes up, that we should oppose this. My own opinion. But I wanted to bring that to your attention because there's a lot of talk about there that this is in the bill. And then you'll see that's misinformation. It's not in the bill. The actual plan is not in the bill. The pilot is in the bill. And as I mentioned, it's 120 some million dollars in a program. If you think 125 million dollars is not a lot of money, I guess then you belong in the federal government. Compare that to the 3.5 trillion. I guess it's not a lot of money, but to anybody else, it's a lot of money to do a pilot program that you're not going to implement. So again, I think that they will implement it, and that's where we're going. So, and again, we fight the IRS and we fight these taxes. And if you're fighting the IRS, then you should get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com, freeirsbook.com. It's right there. You get a free copy. I'll be happy to share it with you. Now, and again, remember, I'm going to ask you to like, subscribe, share this content. We're here every day talking about taxes. Who else is doing that? Nobody. So we need your support. So thanks so much. So we'll be back tomorrow. Now, remember, tomorrow is Crypto Tuesday. So we'll talk about cryptocurrency and what's going on in the cryptocurrency news. So join us tomorrow, won't you? In the meantime, let us go back. So thanks so much. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow.